Have you ever tried to move on from someone, but your mind keeps bringing them back? A random song, a street, a message you never answered, a conversation you keep replaying. And even when you tell yourself to stop thinking about them, something inside you still goes back. Not because you are weak, not because you are crazy, and maybe not even because you are still in love. The real reason is much deeper. Most people assume that if you cannot stop thinking about someone, it means you must still love them. And sometimes that is true. But not always. Sometimes your mind returns to someone because they left a question unanswered. Sometimes because they made you feel something intense. Sometimes because they represented a version of life that felt possible. And sometimes the person is not the real thing you are attached to. You are attached to the meaning they carried. And this is where things become interesting. One reason you cannot stop thinking about someone is that the brain hates unfinished stories. When something ends clearly, the mind can slowly file it away. But when something ends with confusion, silence, mixed signals, or unanswered questions, the mind keeps searching. It replays the last conversation. It studies every detail. It asks what you missed, what you should have said, what they really meant. This is not because you want to suffer. It is because your brain is trying to complete a pattern. An unfinished emotional story creates tension, and the mind keeps returning to it because it wants resolution. Closure is not just emotional, it is cognitive. Your brain wants the ending to make sense, and when it does not, the person becomes a loop. But this is only the first layer. Another reason someone stays in your mind is emotional intensity. The brain remembers what feels powerful, not only what feels good, what feels confusing, what feels rare, what feels uncertain, what feels like hope and pain at the same time. This is why someone can stay in your thoughts even if they were not good for you. The emotional high and low can become addictive to the nervous system. One warm message, one cold silence, one moment of closeness, one moment of distance. That emotional contrast teaches the brain to keep watching, to keep waiting, to keep checking for signs. And over time, the person becomes connected to anticipation. Not peace, anticipation. And anticipation is one of the strongest forces in memory. But emotional intensity makes it even harder. Sometimes the hardest part is not missing the person, it is missing who you were around them. Maybe they made you feel seen. Maybe they made life feel more exciting. Maybe they awakened a softer version of you, a hopeful version, a younger version, a version that believed something beautiful could still happen. And when they disappeared, changed, or became distant, it felt like that version of you disappeared too. This is why the mind keeps going back. It is not only asking why them, it is also asking, where did that part of me go? Some people become emotional mirrors. They reflect something inside us that we were not ready to lose. And when they leave, we do not only grieve them, we grieve the self we met through them. You may not only miss them, you may miss the way your life felt when they were close. The mind can survive pain more easily than uncertainty. A clear ending hurts, but an unclear ending repeats. When someone gives mixed signals, disappears without explanation, or leaves you with unanswered questions, your mind tries to solve them. Did they care? Was it real? Did I imagine it? Could things have been different? This uncertainty keeps the emotional system active, because part of you is still waiting for information, waiting for confirmation, waiting for the moment when everything finally makes sense. But sometimes closure does not come from them. Sometimes closure begins when you stop asking the person to explain your worth. Their silence may never become an answer. Their confusion may never become clarity. Their distance may never become justice. And this is painful. But it is also where freedom begins. Because letting go does not always mean forgetting. Sometimes it means accepting that the story ended without giving you everything you needed. And this is why understanding matters. So why can't you stop thinking about someone? Not always because you still love them, not because you are weak, and not because something is wrong with you. Sometimes your mind is trying to finish an unfinished story. Sometimes your nervous system is attached to emotional intensity. Sometimes you miss who you were around them. And sometimes the hardest part is accepting that you may never get the answer you wanted. But understanding the loop is the beginning of leaving it. Because when you finally see what the person represents, you can stop chasing the person and start healing the meaning behind them. If this felt like you are not alone. This channel is for people who think deeply, feel quietly, and notice the things most people pass by. Subscribe to MindSpace for more quiet reflections like this, and leave a comment with one word that describes this feeling. Maybe your word is unfinished. If this video gave you something to think about, give it a like. It helps more thoughtful people find this space.